Like most of southeast Texas, the area that is today Barker Reservoir has agricultural roots that long predate the subdivisions and strip malls. Way before the Corps of Engineers proposed the reservoir to protect Houston, this was the Marks LH7 ranch and was a feature of the city's agricultural community for years. The LH7 brand was established by Emil Henry Marks in 1898, though it would be several years until he started a ranch. Marks was a ranch hand that had been born in Galveston to Prussian immigrant parents and got his start working on his uncle's ranch after their death. He would go on to establish his first ranch near the then town of Attucks, what is today the intersection of I-10 and Highway 6. 10 years later, limited by his initial 63-acre plot, Marks moved the entire ranch 3 miles west, this time to 640 acres. Here, LH7 became the centerpiece of a cultural community of ranchers west of Houston, and the site hosted an annual roping and branding contest that attracted visitors from across the region. At its peak, LH7 was one of the largest ranches in southeast Texas, and boasted a complex of houses, barns, and the windmill and cattle trough that remains today. The Great Depression took a toll on the ranch and the industry as a whole, but it was the Corps of Engineers that eventually put a nail in the coffin of the functional LH7 ranch. Houston was essential to the effort of World War II because of its chemical and oil infrastructure, and the Corps constructed 2 large flood control reservoirs during this time, Attucks and Barker. The federal government seized much of Marks' land, but the cluster of buildings around the ranch headquarters remained, including the barns and houses. When Emil Henry Marks died, the ranch was left to his daughter Maudine, who was steadfastly dedicated to keeping the historical complex intact. In the late 1990s, several additional historical buildings, including a church and several homes, were moved to the site to escape demolition elsewhere. The Barker General Store had been previously relocated here from elsewhere on the ranch. It wasn't until after Maudine's death in 2009 that the land was finally sold, and nearly all the buildings were demolished. To commemorate the ranch, the windmill and concrete cattle trough were moved to a small plot of land, and a historical marker denoting the ranch's history was erected. The location of the ranch headquarters is today a suburban apartment complex. Although the Marks LH7 ranch in Houston is gone, the cattle brand lives on in one of Marks' descendants, who today runs a ranch near Bandera. Some of the historic buildings that had been moved to the ranch headquarters site were relocated to the property of the Church on the Rock next door, but most of these were not original to the ranch. These buildings included a church and several homes, all of which today have been fixed up and are actively being used by the congregation. But all in all, the LH7 ranch is gone, with only a few choice fragments remaining to signify the lost empire.